Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're starting off on what I'm gonna call Dud December, where I'm gonna find recipes that just on the surface level, very superficially, I'm like, that can't be good. And I'm gonna try and make it and see if it's a dud or not. It's probably gonna be a handful of these kind of recipes where it's something that you know and love, but they're like, I can do it in like 4 ingredients. And it makes you wonder how, because that's cutting a lot of corners that are important. And today we're doing brownies, and they're no bake as well as 5 ingredient. So a positive is they are vegan, because with 5 ingredients, really hard to put an animal product in there. I mean, it's pretty much just blended up dates, and I like dates, so it probably won't taste bad, but I feel like the term brownie is being used inappropriately, to say the least. But that being said, I want to do a little story because it was just Thanksgiving. My parents came to town. I cooked a whole bunch of food for them. If you want to see a picture, I'll probably put a small one here, but a bigger picture you can see on your phone if you go to my Instagram, DoesntEatWheat, same name as this channel. That whole process, I always enjoy. It's a lengthy one, so it's like exhausting, but I find it very enjoyable because you have to do like a lot of planning and prep work and all that stuff, all the good things. And something that I thought in my head just made sense and was kind of normal was that before Thanksgiving, you kind of make a chart of like what temperature do I need the oven at, how long do I need to cook the food for, so you can kind of like pair things together and make everything run a little bit more efficiently. And to do that, I use a whiteboard where I just write the stuff out, like I said, temperature, time, and then I kind of choose the order that I'm gonna do them in. But what I found out is, because this is actually the first time that I've made Thanksgiving for my parents, usually I spend Thanksgiving alone and then I go up to visit them for Christmas, because that's a lot of driving kind of back and forth. They didn't know that I did that, I guess. And and when they came to visit, my mom was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that's like how I kind of track and like know like what should be like paired together and all that stuff. And she's like, how did you think of that? But in kind of like a positive way. So it's like the organizational level that is my brain was different in a good way. I'm special. And I'm wondering, is doing that like a normal thing? Like in your head, well, not necessarily normal, but like in your head, like you're like, oh, that's actually a good idea. That makes sense. Or are you like, Aaron, just cook things in whatever order. They're all not gonna be warm at the same time because you have one oven. Which camp are you in? Of just doing in whatever order, or, hey, that was a good idea to plan. Let me know. Ooh, I can do a poll. I guess it's only one day, but I can do a poll on Instagram. So that'd be kind of fun. So the day that this goes out, if you're watching day of, you can vote there. If not, I guess leave a comment or something. I don't know. But I thought I'd share something quirky that I do. And then maybe any cooking tips, anything funny that you do of ways to keep yourself on track and organized. So all that out of the way now, let's get into what probably is gonna be a pretty quick, maybe, well, no, I guess there's like some like freezing and refrigerating time stuff that's gonna happen. But most of the hands-on, should be a simple brownie recipe, if you can even call it that, but we'll find out. And then at the end, when I taste test, we'll see how good these brownies really are. Dates, cocoa powder, dark chocolate, salt, and peanut butter. The first step is to blend the dates and the peanut butter in a food processor until kind of like evenly mixed together. It's a little chunky looking, but it's evenly mixed across. So everything kind of has been chopped up to an even amount. And so I think it's fine with how it is. It took a few minutes of just kind of like letting it go. I don't know if that's the correct thing or not to do, but now it's time to add the cocoa powder and also the salt, and then mix again. Next is to take a loaf pan that we've kind of prepared with some parchment paper just to make it easier to lift out later. And then we're going to put the brownie mix into the loaf pan, even it out, and then put in the freezer for 30 minutes. The freeze time is nearly done, so we need to prepare the chocolate. So I'm gonna throw that in the microwave to melt it. Now that we've finished kind of freezing the brownies, I'm gonna keep doing that until I taste it to see if it seems like an actual brownie or not. But now it's time to cut the brownies up into bite-sized pieces and then dip them into that melted chocolate. And now we take the chocolate covered brownies that we have and put them in the refrigerator and let them set. Here we have it. Almost falling off the plate there, but beautiful chocolate covered brownies. And for the taste test, I have a chocolate covered one, and then definitely not, because I ran out of chocolate, one that's not covered, because I just kind of want to see what that filling tastes like without being covered in chocolate, because I feel like just covering something in chocolate kind of cheats on making it taste good, because chocolate tastes good. And so if it's covered in it, chances are it's gonna taste good. So first up, we're gonna try the chocolate covered one. It effectively tastes like peanut butter and chocolate. Granted, it's a little milder than I was expecting. The dates are pretty high in sugar, so I was expecting extreme sweet to be happening. But it just tastes like dark chocolate with like mild peanut butter in there, which is not bad, but definitely not a brownie. Now, the dark chocolate is on the outside, so now if I try the just filling on its own, we'll see how that tastes. I mean, it's kind of what I had, like, it doesn't really have a strong chocolate flavor. It's just mostly like chewy, muted peanut butter. And that's really all I'm getting through. Like, I wonder if it needs more salt or something to kind of like contrast that a bit. Because I know in the pictures of the recipe, it's like covered in salt. So that might be something good to kind of offset. It might just be almost like so much sugar that my mouth's just kind of like shutting down a little bit, but I don't know. It's very like one note to me, and not a whole lot of complexity, and just kind of feels like with the normal brownie, it's a bit kind of gooey, and like the top or like other bits are a little like crunchy. It has a little bit more texture to it than this. I guess the chocolate on the outside gives a little bit of a crunch. Maybe I need to leave it in for even longer, or like pop it in the freezer. I don't know. But it's not doing a whole lot there. And now, granted, like this isn't bad necessarily. It's just when you're trying to call it a brownie, I'm struggling a little bit there. And it's also quite messy. And speaking of messy, it definitely was a struggle to clean my food processor, all that peanut butter on there. And like a food processor is very sharp blades. So trying to like clean between them, that the peanut butter, that was not fun. Now, in terms of like, because usually 5 ingredients is like, oh, this is much easier. And it was very hands-off easy, but I feel like it's not really time effective. Hold on, because my brownies I just make from the back of my flour mix. And it's 45 minutes of baking and it's just mixing stuff together. So it's probably like an hour. And this was probably about an hour total because it was 30 minutes in the freezer and then around 30 minutes refrigerating to let it set because it didn't really say for how long. So I just kind of like put them in there and walked away for a bit. So I feel like unless you're vegan, just make normal brownies is kind of what I'm thinking there for brownies. Now, if you called this something else and it was like peanut butter and chocolate squares or something like that, then I'd be like, okay, you're now in a different ballpark. I'm listening. But I feel like in terms of the Dud December, this is probably gonna be a dud. And I don't know if I'm gonna make a graphic for that, but we'll see. Because I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna show up here. And if I don't have one, I'm probably gonna make one because I've kind of put myself on the spot. So I need to figure something out and start getting creative on how to do that. And on that note, bye Mom, still not dead. See ya.